We're starting with Section 1, Security Controls and Concepts. These questions cover how organizations defend themselves using different categories of controls. Pay close attention to the differences between control types. The exam loves to test these distinctions. Question 1. To enhance security at a data center, a security administrator installs a CCTV system and displays several signs warning of surveillance. What types of controls are being implemented? Choose 2. Go ahead, pause, and think about it before we move to the answer. The correct answers are B, deterrent controls, and C, detective controls. Here's why. Security controls are categorized by what they DO. The warning signals are deterrent. They make a bad actor think twice before even trying. The CCTV system itself is detective. It records what happens so you can review it later. Don't confuse the two just because they're both part of the same camera system. Question 2. A company must use certified hardware when constructing networks. Which of the following best addresses the risks associated with purchasing counterfeit hardware? Pause and think before the answer. The correct answer is A, a thorough analysis of the supply chain. This is a supply chain security question. Counterfeit hardware is a massive real-world problem. Think about it. If someone slips a fake router into your order, it could come preloaded with backdoors or just fail unpredictably. A legally enforceable acquisition policy is administrative and doesn't verify the actual hardware. A right to audit clause lets you audit but doesn't prevent counterfeits from entering. The only real defense is analyzing your full supply chain, whereas the hardware coming from, who handles it, is the packaging sealed, are serial numbers verified. Remember, supply chain means the full journey from manufacturer to your hands. Question 3. A software developer has launched a new application and is sharing the files on their website. What should the developer include on the website to allow users to check the integrity of the downloaded files? The correct answer is A, hashes. This is all about integrity, making sure the file you downloaded is exactly what the developer put up and not tampered with in transit. A hash, like SHA-256, takes the file and produces a unique fingerprint. You download the file, run a hash on it, and compare it to what the developer published. If they match, you're good. If they don't, stop everything. Here's where people get tricked. Salting IS used with hashes, but it's for passwords, not for file verification. Certificates are for identity. Algorithms is too vague, so hashes are your answer. Question 4. Employees working in the research and development department receive in-depth training on how to protect company data. Which type of data is most likely to be handled by these employees in their daily work? The correct answer is B, intellectual property. R&D teams handle trade secrets, patents, proprietary formulas, source code, and product designs, all of which fall under intellectual property. This is among the most sensitive and valuable data a company can have. Encrypted is a state of data, not a type. Critical is a classification level, not specific to R&D. Data privacy relates to customer data. Know your data types for the exam. PII, PHI, IP, financial data, and know which departments handle which. Question 5. A system administrator is configuring a firewall to allow DNS requests. Which port numbers should be allowed for this traffic? The correct answer is C, port 53. DNS, domain name system, translates domain names like google.com into IP addresses, and it uses port 53. Here's a quick cheat sheet to burn into your memory. Port 21 is FTP. Port 22 is SSH. Port 25 is SMTP, email sending. Port 53 is DNS. Port 80 is HTTP. Port 443 is HTTPS. Port 3389 is RDP. The exam loves ports. Know your common ones cold. Moving into Section 2, Risk Management and Vulnerability. These questions test your understanding of how organizations identify, measure, and respond to risk. Vocabulary is critical here. Small differences in terms can mean the difference between right and wrong on the exam. Question 6. What term describes the maximum level of risk that an organization is willing to accept? The correct answer is D, risk threshold. Let's do a quick vocabulary lesson because these terms trip people up. A risk indicator is a metric showing that risk is increasing. A risk level is a general measurement of how dangerous a risk is. A risk score is a numeric value assigned to a risk, but a risk threshold is the maximum level of risk an organization will accept before action is required. Think of it like a speed limit. Once you cross it, you're in violation. Same with risk. Once you exceed the threshold, the organization must act. Question 7. What is the most reliable method for daily checking whether the security settings on servers have been altered? The correct answer is A, automation. This one is super logical when you think about it. Manual audits are slow, error-prone, and you can't realistically do them every day on every server without burning out your team. Compliance checklists are periodic, not daily. Attestation is when people vouch that something is correct, still human, still unreliable for daily checks. Automation, tools like SIEM, configuration management software, or file integrity monitoring can check every server continuously, flag changes, and alert your team instantly. Real-world tools like Tripwire or OSSEC do exactly this. Question 8. The CIRT is investigating an incident where a human resources recruiter stole sensitive company data. The recruiter used HTTPS over port 53 to upload documents to a web server. Which security device could have detected and blocked this action? The correct answer is B, NGFW utilizing application inspection. This is a clever attack. The recruiter used port 53, normally reserved for DNS, but tunneled HTTP traffic through it. A regular firewall just sees port 53 is allowed and waves it through. But a next-generation firewall with deep packet inspection looks and sees the traffic and says, wait, this isn't DNS. This is HTTP. Block it. This is where people get tricked. Just because a port is allowed doesn't mean the traffic is legitimate. NGFW see through that. Question 9. A technician is configuring firewall ports for a new system being provided by a SaaS vendor. What risk is primarily associated with this new system? The correct answer is C, supply chain vendor risk. When you bring in a third-party SaaS solution, you inherit their security posture. Their systems have vulnerabilities, weak configurations, or get breached. Those become your problem. Default credentials are a possible risk, but not the primary category. Vulnerable software is a possible outcome, not the category of risk. Always ask yourself, what happens to MY data if my vendor gets breached? That's supply chain risk thinking. Question 10. Which of the following is most appropriate for environments that experience frequent changes? The correct answer is B, containers. Containers, like Docker, are lightweight, portable, and can be spun up or destroyed in seconds. DevOps teams love them precisely because environments change constantly. RTOS is for time-critical embedded systems. Embedded systems are fixed purpose and not meant to change often. SCADA is for industrial control, very static and highly change-resistant. When you see frequent changes on the exam, think containers. Now we're in Section 3, Threats, Attacks, and Incident Response. This is a big domain on the Security Plus exam. You need to know your attack types, your incident response phases, and how security tools detect and respond to threats. Question 11. After completing a security awareness session, a user contacted IT to report a suspicious phone call. The caller claimed to be the CFO requesting credit card information to close an invoice. What type of attack is this? The correct answer is phishing, voice phishing. The attacker used a phone call instead of email to trick the victim. What makes this particularly sneaky is the use of authority. Claiming to be the CFO creates urgency and pressure. This is called pretexting, creating a false scenario to manipulate someone. The fact that the user just completed security awareness training and still reported it, that's the training working. That's the goal. Real-world note. Business email compromise and phishing attacks cost companies billions every year. Always verify out of band. Call the real CFO directly using a number you know and trust. Question 12. A company has been facing attacks targeting vulnerabilities in outdated browser versions. Using well-known exploits, which security monitor solution should be set up to effectively monitor and block these attacks based on recognized signatures? The correct answer is DIPS, Intrusion Prevention System. The KUI word is block. An IDS, Intrusion Detection System, only detects and alerts. It doesn't stop anything. An IPS detects and actively blocks malicious traffic in real time. ACLLs filter traffic by rules, but don't do signature-based detection. DLP stops data from leaving, not attacks coming in. Here's the rule to memorize. IDS equals detects only. IPS equals detects plus prevents. If the question says block, the answer is almost always IPS. Question 13. In which phase of the incident response process does a security analyst review roles and responsibilities? The correct answer is A, preparation. The incident response lifecycle has 6 phases: preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. In the preparation phase, you build your team, define roles, create playbooks, and make sure everyone knows their responsibilities before anything bad happens. Think of it like a fire drill. You don't figure out who does what during the fire. You do that during preparation. Question 14. An accounting clerk transferred money to an attacker's bank account after receiving fraudulent instructions to use a new account. What would most likely prevent this from happening again? The correct answer is B, executing regular phishing campaign simulations. This is a business email compromise attack, one of the most costly attack types globally. The clerk was socially engineered into thinking the instruction was legitimate. The best prevention? Training people to recognize and question these attempts. Running phishing simulations keeps employees alert and builds the habit of verifying unusual financial requests. This wasn't an insider threat, it was external social engineering. Real-world tip: always verify unusual financial requests by calling the requester using a known trusted phone number, never the one in the email. Question 15. Which of the following refers to a security tool that centralizes system, application, and network logs from multiple sources for monitoring and alerting purposes? The correct answer is A, SIEM. SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management. It's the hub of a modern security operations center. It pulls logs from firewalls, endpoints, servers, cloud apps, normalizes them, correlates events, and triggers alerts when something looks suspicious. DLP prevents data from leaving the org. IDS detects intrusions but doesn't centralize logs from multiple sources. SNMP is for network device monitoring, not security event correlation. Think of SIEM as the big brain watching everything at once. Without it, you're flying blind. Section 4, Access Control and Identity Management. This domain covers how organizations controlled WHO can access what. Knowing the different access control models is essential for the exam. Question 16. A system administrator wants to restrict data access based on users' roles within an organization and implement a streamlined access control method. Which solution should the administrator apply? The correct answer is RBAC, Role-Based Access Control. RBAC assigns permissions to roles, and then users are assigned to those roles. This is perfect when you want to manage access at scale. Instead of setting permissions for each individual, you define what administrator-analyst or read-only can do, then assign people to those roles. ABAC uses attributes like time, location, and clearance level. DAC lets the resource owner set permissions. When the question mentions roles and streamlined access, RBAC is your answer. And that is a wrap on today's session. We covered 16 questions across every major domain: security controls, risk management, threats, access control, network security, cloud, governance, and incident response. If you went through this actively, pausing, thinking, answering before I did, you built real knowledge today, not just familiarity. There's a difference, and the exam will test which one you have. Now, here's what I want you to do next. Keep practice. Don't stop here. Repetition and variety are what make knowledge stick. Scroll down to the description. There are PBQ-style performance-based questions waiting for you there.
PBQ in the description.
All this time, I've been holding on so tight, 'cause all that I do was easy to use. So call my time, but you